Welcome to the mini podcast series Data Unplugged, Conversations from the Richmond CDO Forum. Join us as we interview the data thought leaders and chief data officers featuring on our 2024 conference programme. Hear how they are shaping the future of data and get a glimpse into the areas of expertise they'll be bringing to the forum in September 2024. Learn about their journeys into the world of data and find out about the person behind the title as we look forward to the inaugural Richmond CDO Forum next September. Brought to you by Richmond Events.
My name is Liam Quinn and I'm the Project Director for the Richmond CDO Forum here at Richmond Events. It's my pleasure to host this podcast and I hope you get as much out of it as I did. In today's podcast, we're going to hear from Robin Huggins as they provide us with a brief summary of how he got into data and what he'll be discussing at the Richmond CDO Forum next year. Hi Robin. Our first question is, in a nutshell, how did you begin your career in data and what's kept you here?
My career in data is an interesting one. I grew up in a house where my father was a graphic designer, so words like marketing, advertising, copywriting and promotion were kind of part of the everyday language. I finished university around about the time of the Y2K phenomenon and I started in talent acquisition for technology. Very quickly, I started hiring for database, campaign and CRM specialists, and I really just understood exactly what they did. Customer focus then led to more of a data-driven decisioning focus. And 20 years later, I'm still doing this. I am absolutely fascinated by the work that gets done by incredible people. And I am the fanboy geek who was really, really lucky to work within an industry that I've spent my entire adult life appreciating.
What is your top prediction for the future of data and what opportunities for harnessing data do you foresee on the horizon?
My prediction is that the next 10 to 20 years will see a pretty significant shift in the dynamic between individuals and organisations' ownership and usage of data. I think we're going to start to see the beginning of the emergence of syndicates or collectives, where group ownership of personal data becomes the norm. If data is the new oil and it is increasingly valuable to organisations, then I think that this collective approach to commercialisation will become key. That then represents an opportunity. I can then see data-driven decisioning being perhaps used to address more of society's challenges rather than purely being focused on commercial challenges.
In your opinion, what makes a good CDO?
Good CDOs have to have, in my opinion, 5 essential qualities, and none of them are technology focused. Firstly, a good CDO has to be a great people person with top-notch interpersonal skills. Secondly, a good CDO has to be impact focused and value obsessed. They need to know how to move the needle. A good CDO has to be a collaborator by default. And fourthly, a good CDO has to be an evangelist for change. They've got to want to win hearts and minds. And lastly, a good CDO has to be a problem solver first and foremost, because that's what data-driven decisioning does within organisations, solves problems.
Tell us one thing that might surprise people about you.
So one thing about me that might surprise people is that I am a rock and roll musician, a guitarist to be precise. I've spent the guts of the last 40 years playing extremely loud, extremely fast, extremely sweaty rock and roll music in a variety of pubs and clubs all over the country. I've written dozens of songs, I've collaborated with hundreds of musicians, and back in my early teens when I first started playing this type of music, I think I very definitely found my tribe.
Finally, please provide a small teaser into your session at the inaugural Richmond CDO Forum.
My session at the inaugural CDO Forum will look at how the best data strategy and optimised technology stack may not deliver on the promise without the best people in the data team. If you've got the best people in your data team, then you are very fortunate indeed. However, most folks, they have to attract externally in a hugely competitive market. I've spent 20 years advising the best in the business how to build their data teams. What I'm hoping my session gives attendees is a look under the bonnet at a successful, holistic data talent attraction strategy.
Thank you, Robin, for sharing with us your journey through data so far. I can't wait to talk to you at the forum and find out more about your rock and roll history and who you've actually played with. Sounds fascinating.
This was Data Unplugged, Conversations from the Richmond CDO Forum, brought to you by Richmond Events. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please follow us on LinkedIn and Spotify, helping us to spread the word and reach Chief Data Officers throughout the UK. You can find out more at the richmondcdoforum.com.